Well, good morning, election integrity friends. Today is episode 3. It's July 29th, 2020. We are 97 days away from an election that will signify the extinction of America as we know it. I wish I could be more optimistic, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not running for office. I'm just going to tell you how it is. The good news is, as always, I will, if I give you bad news, which today is some bad news, I will give you some good action steps to do at the end of this video that will mitigate the problems we're looking at. Because we will expose a problem and then we'll give you a solution. So I'm not just going to have you run out and cut your wrists or something like that. But it starts with this picture, and then we'll play our tape so you'll know who we are. Okay, this picture, it is the Three Gorges Dam. And I was reading today up on this after hearing news on it. This is an extinction event for China. So we're not the only country that's about to be extinguished. There was a recent, and that I probably just got this video banned by YouTube and Google because I dared mention China, but the bottom line to it is the Three Gorges Dam. It's the largest hydroelectric power project in the world, and it is, kind of a big feather in the cap that the CCP has been using to show how great they are, how they're the new vanguard of this century. But as you can see from that picture, it's giving. That used to be a straight line, what you're looking at there. It used to be straight, and now it is not. And the reason is they've had the worst flooding since 1949. The Three Gorges Dam itself was very controversial for the number of people it relocated. And it is currently 2 meters above the flood warning line. And I could give you the math on this, but let's just put it this way. If and when that dam breaks, and I think it will, pending a miracle, you're looking at 400 million people. 400 million people downriver. Needless to say, there's a lot of industry downriver too, a lot of factories that provide all of our stuff we buy at Walmart and stuff like that. All that, there's going to be a lot of impact, what we used to call in the military planning a second and third order of effect. The dam is breaking. Unfortunately, what do? They open the floodgates. Well, I'll tell you why. Today's episode is called Open the Floodgates, or something along those lines. Okay, now we'll go to the intro. You'll see who I am and who we are, and I'll be back to you.
Voter Integrity Project.
The Voter Integrity Project.
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 Jay Delancey, the director of the Voter Integrity Project.
Good afternoon. A few years ago, I started an organization called Voter Integrity Project in North Carolina with a mission to ensure free and fair elections for our children and grandchildren. Soon the effort attracted computer programmers, paralegals, engineers, auditors, and even one team member with a PhD in database design.
There's our website, voterintegrityproject.com. And I'm not going to stay there long, but you might notice the contribute button there. As I told previous, we're a C4, meaning your donations are not tax deductible. However, corporations can donate to us. And also, let's see, you have a degree of anonymity that you do not have when donating to a political action committee or something like that. The reason we call this opening the floodgates is because I talked to one of the deans of North Carolina election law with regard to voter fraud especially. And when I read him this memo and went through it with him, reviewing it, that was his response. Was they have opened the floodgates. And today I'm going to show you how a numbered memo that was signed out yesterday. By the way, hat tip to Major Dave for alerting me to this. I don't know when I would have seen it, but hat tip. This is a team project where people are letting us know, and we can always use your tips. And Dave sent us this. Thank you, Dave. He contacted me through Facebook. You can use our website. We have voterintegrityproject.com, or you can go to our Facebook page and talk to I hope you're not seeing these notifications. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, anyway, there are other ways you can get a hold of us through Facebook, through the Voter Integrity Project page on Facebook, or through my personal page, Jay Delancey. All right. Karen Brenson Bell, the Executive Director of North Carolina Board of Elections, is all about creating a tsunami of absentee ballots to flood the system so we can have a California-style election. Unfortunately, there are enough legislators who helped her with this that this is what we're dealing with now. They wrote a law. We argued with them about the law, and what do? They started shooting at us for being the messenger. I'm just the watchman on the wall. I'll tell you what's there. I'm the watchman on the wall, and you can listen to me or not, but my hands will be clean after I've told you, and I'll tell you what you can do. This is her memo. She issued it yesterday. This memo is a green light to ballot harvesting in a number of ways, but it's classic PR, so I will show you. I'm going to read it to you, kind of walk through it carefully. This memo has the force of law at the county level in administering election law, so they have to follow these procedures. It's not just some random memo, it's a direction that they've put out that have to be followed by all 100 counties. Okay, and it reflects the current state law. Now, they talk about validity of the form, determining validity. Now, what that means is the form filled out correctly? And it just goes through some details that they want, the voter's name and address, the voter's near relative or guardian, if that individual is making the request. The address they want the ballot mailed to, if different from the voter's residence address. So you can have it sent anywhere. Interesting. Okay. That is a problem, actually. Should be an address that's on their record. But you think about it, absentee voting. Hey, I didn't tell anybody I was living in Mississippi at one point, except I ordered my absentee ballot in Mississippi. I mean, some people knew. So there shouldn't be anything illegal about absentee ballots being sent to some other address. It's just interesting. Just keep that in mind. Don't be alarmed, but it is interesting. Okay, let's see. Here's the one that our first red alarm is down here. It said all required fields on the form are completed, and one of the following. Now I'm going to skip ahead because there's three things here. One of the following. The voter's DMV issued driver's license number or non-operator ID number, or the last 4 digits of the voter's social security number and voter's date of birth. Okay. So, all right, great. So you put 4 numbers in there and the voter's date of birth. You're good to go. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to commit fraud, but I'm going to tell you how it will be done. I'm just going to tell you. What they'll do, what someone can do is write 4 digits in there and then write the voter's date of birth, which is easily obtained. See, let's see, the employees, because nowhere in here are employees told to validate this information, to go check to make sure it's the driver license number or the last 4 of the social. By the way, when you register to vote, you're not required to provide, this is by federal law, you're not required to show a driver's license number or a non-operator ID number or the last 4 of your social. You're not required to. You are required to give a date of birth. So they do have your date of birth, but that's all they have. These other numbers, they may or may not check it. And if they do and it doesn't match, I wonder what they would do about it. But we'll see, because it really doesn't say. I'm sure the conscientious employees, and there are a few in a couple of counties that actually care about election integrity, they might look it up and see, but if they don't have it, it's no reason to reject it. Look right here, the next sentence. It says a form that does not contain all the above information is invalid. Okay, fair enough, yay. Now it says here, if a county board receives an invalid request, it shall immediately contact the voter or the voter's near relative or legal guardian, ideally within 1 business day. Okay, good. All right, see on the front of this memo, things are looking good. All right, if it's valid, okay, it's good to go. We're not gonna mention about validating this personally identifying information. There's no mention of that. So that'd be something you could ask your election board when you go to your election board meetings, and ask the director of your county. And this is part of what you need to do, is plug in and start going to these meetings so you can understand how they're giving away our elections using rules like this. But we move on. Absentee request submissions. Now, these are the request forms. In fact, let me go back to the beginning. This whole memo is about absentee request forms. It is not about ballots. It's about the forms. Keep that in mind. These are request forms. So don't run around saying, he said that you could do that on a ballot. No, it's on the request form. Okay, now, how to submit it. They rigged the law this year. Our friendly lawmakers drank the Kool-Aid that Karen Brenson Bell was providing with a smile, and they drank that Kool-Aid, and we tried to stop them, but they yelled at us and called us all kinds of names and insulted us, and that's your legislature, ladies and gentlemen, in North Carolina. Okay, so now you can request an absentee ballot by email, by fax, by U.S. mail, or designated delivery service, or by an online request portal that's funded by taxpayer dollars, a third-party organization that our state will license into to use. Okay. There's no requirement for the particular type of file a voter may use to submit a request form by email. There's no, well, let me try that again. There is no requirement. There is no requirement for the particular type of file a voter may use to submit a request by email. So you could send it PDF, you could send it, literally, it goes in here later, you can actually take a picture of it and send a picture of the form you filled out. In fact, the very next sentence says that. I won't belabor that. Let's see, we're gonna move on here. Who may submit the request form? Okay, this is where it gets tricky, just tricky as all get out. Okay, now there's something else I want to say up here. A voter, okay, this is good to know, and don't do this, ladies and gentlemen, please, even though they could do it. They just say, we recommend that voters do not send a link to the form using a service such as Google Docs, because performing a cyber scan of such documents may not be possible and thus could pose a security risk to the Board of Elections. So, hey, if you want to hack the whole process, maybe using software to hack their computers, this is what they do not want you to do, because if you do, you might create a cyber problem for them. We're not saying to do this, we're not saying don't do it, but the state is highlighting it as, hey, this might cause a problem and blow up our entire IT system. So we recommend that voters don't send this. Good. I'm glad you're looking out for the integrity of our elections, Ms. Bell. Okay, who may submit? This is kind of a big deal here, but it's compromised away in a minute. It says the voter's near relative or verifiable legal guardian. Boy, that's a lot of words, and I'm going to use it a lot in this because we're going to talk about that a lot. But anyway, this third one is called an MAT. What that is, a multi-partisan assistance team. You need to go to your county. I would beg you to get involved in this. I'm going to make a note here. MAT and go to meetings. You go join. Call your county up and say, how can I be a member of the MAT? They'll train you. They might even pay you for the training. Don't say I told them that, but they might. I'm just saying, because some of these things are paid. This is a voluntary position, but I don't know. I haven't read the law enough to know. You might get paid for it, but don't do it for the money. Do it to keep the bad guys from doing it. Because if you don't do it, what happens is the League of Women Voters will send in a Democrat, and the League of Women Voters will send in a unaffiliated. So the law says two people not of the same party. They recently changed it, or tried to change it, to make it two people of the majority party of the two most majority parties, and then if there's an unaffiliated coming, that would be the third person. And it got all complicated. So I didn't keep up with it. Just contact your local county board of elections and ask them, how can I get on one of these teams? Now, I gotta tell you, if you're afraid of coronavirus, another reason to cancel this film. If you're afraid of coronavirus, you probably shouldn't do this, because the MATs are going to go to nursing homes, and they don't know how they're going to do it yet. My guess is they'll bring the wards outside, and they'll do all the safety features, and it'll be okay. But because they want these nursing home people to vote for both good and bad reasons, we'll leave it at there. Get on those teams to prevent some criminal organization from sending two people in. Just saying. Not saying the League of Women Voters are criminal, just saying They sure have changed over the years. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Okay, an absentee ballot request form returned by any other person is invalid. That is per state law. Ooh, okay. A third party may not submit the request. Well, there, they said that. So, yeah, oh baby, they're saying it. Now we're going to tell you how a third party person may do that without breaking the law. I'm not telling you how to break the law. I'm just going to show you the instructions they give in this letter. That, here we go. Okay, for example, in some cases, it may not be clear whether the absentee request form was submitted by the voter, the voter's near relative or legal guardian, or MAT. In the absence of evidence to the contrary, a county board of elections should presume that the request was submitted by an authorized person. Okay, so forget everything they said up here. As long as you don't provide any evidence that makes them think maybe you're not that person, they'll accept it. They are going to not assume, because they know what that would do. They're going to presume that it's fine. It's all good. It's legal. Oh, it's legal. It's legal. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Anyone who says it isn't is undermining the integrity of our elections, undermining public trust in the elections. Okay, that's their shtick when we point this stuff out to them. Okay, now submission by mail. Okay, so maybe you don't want to walk in and submit one of these things because that's who can do it. Now, this is may return absentee ballot request form. All right. Oh gosh. Email popping up. Okay, submission by mail. This is to the county boards talking about how they're going to process absentee ballot request forms. It says you may consider, if you receive one by mail, you may consider, I'm going to go all the way to here. You may consider the return address of the envelope in determining whether the request was returned by the voter or the voter's near relative or legal guardian. Here's the part that cracks me up. If there is no return address and no other information indicating the request was submitted by somebody other than the voter or the voter's near relative or legal guardian, the request is valid. So, note to ballot harvesters, send the request in a blank envelope. Got it? Okay, as long as you don't put a return address on it, the request is valid. Thank you, Karen Brenson Bell. Okay, a third party may provide a postage stamp to the voter or the voter's near relative or legal guardian to return the request form. Now, wait a minute. Remember 10% Grange, Holly Grange, the sponsor of that bill that gutted our election law? She scolded that, hey, it's against the law to send, to pay the postage for the state to pay it. I guarantee you the state will be paying postage on email, on these absentee ballot return envelopes. I guarantee it. Anyway, but we're just talking about the envelope to mail the request for the ballot. So a ballot harvester walk up with a blank envelope, have you write in the address on the front in your handwriting with a stamp on it. They'll give you the stamp. You just fill it out and boom, in it goes. Great. Okay. May even be a metered mail, which causes all kinds of problems because it's not postmarked. But thank you, Karen Brenson Bell. Thank you, 10% Grange, because you helped do this too. And God love you. Okay. A third party may provide a postage stamp. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a footnote here. Wait, okay. The federal law considers a stamp to be, I'm not going to read this to you, but it considers a stamp to be kind of like giving a voter a ride to the polls. Okay, that's great, because they're coming in before the polls close and they do that. But these absentee ballots will come in God knows when. At any rate, so I get it. Now, only in state law, and I actually have that pulled up. And okay, technically it is against North Carolina law. It says all ballots issued under the provision of this article shall be transmitted by mail or by commercial courier service at the voter's expense or delivered in person by the voter's near relative, verified, blah, 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 not later than 5 p.m. Okay, well, the point is at the voter's expense. Now see, in the past, a ballot harvester always had trouble. It's kind of a problem because you're trying to get somebody to vote who doesn't really want to vote, and you're banging on the door going, come on, I need your ballot. And they're going, nah, I don't want to vote. I don't want to vote. So they make up an excuse. They go, you know, I don't have a stamp. I just don't want to do it. Now, if I'm the harvester and I hand you a stamp, under North Carolina law, I've broken the law. Under federal law, I've not. So you're not going to get prosecuted under federal law. But in North Carolina, I've broken the law. But on this memo, Karen Brenson Bell just said, it's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. And by the way, there's a lawsuit right now that's some federal judge is going to rule that it's legal. That it's legal to pay the postage. That's coming, because otherwise it'd be a new Jim Crow. It'd be discriminating against voters because they don't have a stamp. So that's a new Jim Crow now. Everything that might slow, even a long line, is considered a new Jim Crow. Okay, but I digress. Submission by email. I could read this to you. It's hilarious because it talks about different kinds of email, and all these are good. No, all these are fine. You can have an email that has no indication that it's from you, and you can have it from Animal Lover 10. And okay, all right, and you send it. It says, for example, that, and there is no other information included in the body of the email to identify the sender. This is a non-exhaustive list of scenarios where the email ballot would be treated as submitted. So this is assumed to be authorized. It's an email from some weird address, has no reference to the voter, but it has the name. But it has the some kind of name there. Okay, item 2, request form is sent from an email address that appears to be associated with the voter. Pardon the interruption. It appears to be associated with the voter. For example, John Smith, and it says John Smith. Okay. The third one, it appears to be Mrs. Smith. It says Jane Smith, and hey, she's requesting the ballot for John Smith. Here's my favorite. It says a request form is sent from an email address that appears to be associated with a person other than the voter's near relative or guardian. For example, John Smith's ballot requested by Crystal Jones. However, the body of the email includes a note indicating the voter used the email address to submit their absentee request form, and the form was sent by the voter. Okay, so you can send it from some bizarro address as long as you write in the body of it that, hey, for example, it says this form is acceptable because now there is evidence indicating the voter actually returned the form. Ooh, okay, the evidence. So what you do, you put in the email and then you say, oh, by the way, I certify that I'm the voter, and then I personally transmitted this request by email, sincerely. Okay, there it is. Do that through a VPN? I don't know. I think all you got to do is type those words in there, and the email language is acceptable. So any email address, doesn't matter. I mean, they're creating like 50 ways to do this. The only thing they're not letting you do, so they're on the ball, that some address, leo@voteamerica.com, has submitted request forms, a county board. That transmission is invalid. There, that's your state board of elections, making sure nobody steals, maybe nobody floods the zone with absentee ballots. Yeah, wow, I'm feeling so good now. They're proving to me they're doing their job. Okay, so they get the absentee ballot request form and it's signed, right? Check signature. Oh, wait, no signature verification. The voter's signature should not be compared with the voter's signature on file, because this is not required by North Carolina law. Thanks, legislature. Good job. Yeah, fabulous. So they can sign it, they can scribble, they can do anything they want to. And election officials will not be checking those signatures because you didn't put it in the law. Good job. Way to go, guys. Wait. A typed signature is not acceptable, even if it's in cursive. Oh, good. Thank goodness. Okay, so you can't type it. Oh, but wait, there's more. See, the front paragraph giveth, the next paragraph taketh away. The following is non-exclusive list of examples of acceptable signatures. The voter signs the form by hand with a pen, pencil, etc. We wonder what this etc. What about a crayon? What about a charcoal stick where you burn off the edge of it and just kind of, scribble with the charcoal? The signature is made by the voter's hand with a finger on the stylus. Okay. The voter copies and pastes a photo, their unique signature, on the request form. Okay. So, hey, great. You copy and paste a photo of their unique signature. The signature that nobody's going to check, by the way. or the voter makes the mark. The voter marks their form. Their mark could be an X. Their mark could be a scribble. All right. You happy so far? Okay, assistance. Who may assist? This cracks me up. Assistant, they define it. Assistance means helping the voter physically fill out the form. But any person may provide a voter with a copy of a blank absentee request form or explain what the voter needs to do to complete the request form, because this is not considered assistance. Let me walk through that. I guess if I'm physically holding the pen in your hand and moving your hand to fill out the form, that's not allowed. But if I'm pointing to each block and telling you what to put in each block, that's allowed. That is not considered assistance. Got it. All right, let's see, who is a patient? Oh, this is another thing. A voter who is a patient or resident nursing home is prohibited from receiving assistance from a person identified in 226.3A4. It's people who work in nursing homes and that kind of thing. However, a voter who is blind, disabled, or unable to read, including unable to read or write in English, and whose relative or near guardian is unavailable to assist the voter may receive assistance from another person. Unavailable means that the near relative or legal guardian is not available at the time the voter is filling out the form. Not available. Hey, Aunt Bessie, can you come to the door for me? I need your help. I can't do it right now. My hands are tied. Okay, she's unavailable. So now I can help you fill that form out. Assisting. Anybody can do this. It's a green light. As my voter ballot harvesting expert said, it opens the floodgates. All these things brought in toto. Now, but don't worry. Don't worry. There's a safeguard to everything. And it's that last paragraph. Logging requirements, logging requests. Okay, county board are required to maintain a log of absentee request forms dropped off at the office. Now, in Robeson County, we found conveniently the only log they had was a log that listed a woman who worked for McRae Dallas. They had no other logs of absentee ballots that were requested by the DCCC. They were in town, they had their business card and some public records, but none of their names were on these logs. The only log they brought was a one sheet that had one person on it signing it twice. And now they're going to make sure that this can be done because the county can provide a single form for that one individual. And then if you're one of their friends or you're in on the corruption, they'll just lose that form of yours. It'll disappear, don't worry. So they're going to log it, but okay, it gets worse. Okay, because there's a coronavirus on, and wow. Okay, the county board's office is closed due to COVID-19. The logging requirement is waived. Oh, okay. So remember that first sentence? You're required to maintain a log, but if you're closed, no worries. If all that happens, the county board shall provide a secure, immovable drop box for return of absentee ballot forms and other documents. Okay, great. So I walk in the lobby or walk out the front door of my county board of elections. There's a drop box. I can drop those in that box whenever I can, whenever I want to. I could drop 100 of them in. I could drop 1,000 of them in. Oh, they're supposed to have a log. Oh, but wait, no, they don't have to because COVID-19. We couldn't have a log. We can't. We don't need that because there's a virus out there. All right, pardon my sarcasm. All right, in total, this is a train wreck. Or more to the point, this numbered memo is a floodgate being opened, just like the Three Gorges Dam. Okay, if you're depressed and ready to slit your wrist, don't. I need you. If this bothers you, I need you. I need you to take back your government. These people are taking your government for you, and they're rigging election law to do it. But you can still stop them. Okay, first off, I got 3 action steps for you. Number 1, contact your local county board of elections and ask them 2 things. 1, I want to get on the multi-partisan assistance team. I want to be able, if you can't remember that, say, I want to get on one of those teams that allows us to go into nursing homes. I want to go there. I want to get trained for it. I want to do it. How do I do it? If you do it, some bad guy can't. Because if you're worried, if you're mad about what I'm telling you, then you're the kind of person I want there to do this. Unless you're mad because I'm giving away all the trade secrets or something. So go to the meetings, learn more, plug in, start taking ownership of your local election. Whether you're in North Carolina or New Zealand, take control of your elections. Do all you can to learn how elections are administered. Get smart on it. That's item one. Item two is, oh yeah, sign our White House petition. I'm going to go back to screen share. If you want to find it, you go to the home page, and the very top of the page, oh, there we go. It says VIP calls for voter fraud summit at White House petition. Click on that story, start reading it, and it's got some links. Here, White House petition. We're asking, it says stop voter fraud and prevent ballot harvesting from corrupting this year's elections. Created by yours truly. The third and final step I will say to you is something we call canvass your hood, canvass your neighborhood. And I'm not going to go into details of that today. That'll be a subsequent broadcast, maybe tomorrow. That's another preventative measure you can do to make sure illegal ballot harvesting does not alter the outcome of this election. It's not a lot, but it's something you can do. So last time, get involved at your local level, become an MAT member or start going to the meetings. That's step one. Step two, sign the White House petition. And step three, learn about canvassing. Now on my YouTube channel, Jay Delancey YouTube channel, you can see something about canvassing voters. It's a two-part film and only one part's up yet, but you get the idea. There's paperwork and there's legwork. So you start the paperwork, and I'll have more to say about that later. This has been a long broadcast. I'm done with it, and I thank you for your patience. And I'm Vote Checker. I'm Jay Delancey. My Twitter is @VoteChecker. You can find me there, and yeah, we'll see you next time.